Okay, so gosh, I hope I do this right. But in thinking about my story, I think I have little pieces of other stories that kind of accumulate into where I am today. And I tried to really narrow a couple down that I remembered. But I remember as a kid before I started first grade, there was a young girl on the other side of the alley, and she was black, and she was my first friend, and I didn't have the words to articulate that she looked different than me. In fact, I don't even know if I thought she looked different than me. I just remember I just remember that her mom would do her hair, and I had mentioned this in a paper for a different class, but I remember that her mom would do her hair with these beautiful braids and these beads. And my mom was never like a hair person. I mean, right now, I don't do my hair, I don't curl my hair. I don't, when I was growing up, my mom never did my hair. I didn't have cute ponytails or French braids or anything like that. And it was just, I was so jealous of her, and that her mom did her hair with these beautiful beads. And I thought to myself that how much I would love to have these beautiful beads. And so I never recognized that she was racially different than me, but I recognized that her hair got done differently than mine. That was before I started first grade, and then I remember moving to a new school district, and there weren't a lot of non-white children, and but I remember having a crush in third or fourth grade on this boy who was black, and I had mentioned it, because in elementary school crushes, and I remember like people making fun of me for it, and I didn't know why. Um, it didn't make sense to me, and it does now, but it was almost seen as like not okay that the white girl and the black boy, I mean, it was, thinking back, it I can't really pinpoint a moment, but I do remember, it not going over well with my friends. So that's when I stopped liking him. Um, and then in high school, there's a pocket of Springfield, Delaware County school district that comes from Morton, and Morton is predominantly black, and a different socioeconomic status than the white children that also attend Springfield School District, and the predominantly white pocket of children come from Springfield Township. And I remember, these children from Morton getting bused. It was like having whole buses of black children going across the Baltimore Pike this way, and then the white children took the buses this way. And so that really struck me, and I didn't really have I didn't have the words to articulate, but I had questions. I questioned why my hair was different and why I was jealous of that, and then I questioned why I got made fun of in third, fourth grade, and then I questioned why, the black children or the non-white children sat over here in the cafeteria while the white kids sat over here in the cafeteria, even though they were on the same team and in the same classes, and it really didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And then going to college, I had between my senior year and heading to college, I had been exposed to feminist theory for literary works, and I had also taken some classes on gender and communication. And while my feminist lens and my experience in gender and communication and my understanding of media and women, and finally, for the first time, I felt like I had a way to articulate how I was feeling about the racial issues, because I saw a lot of inequality and inequity that I began to see over here. So in high school, I did use words that I don't use anymore, because of how hurtful they can be. And when I stopped using those words, like retarded, people would say all the time, that's retarded, or that's so gay. And I don't use those phrases because I began to see how they make a hierarchy and make something less than. And um, then I finally felt like I had the lens and the terminology and the language to articulate why I felt like there was so much wrong with the stories that I had regarding race in my life. And then I was able to examine class. I was able to, through one of my classes in college, just thinking about um, women and how something like Sex in the City is okay, but your low socioeconomic status, lower class prostitution is seen as something very different than these high class women who are having lots of sex, et cetera, et cetera. So I began to see that there was a difference in social class and expectations in social class. And then I began to understand and learn more about Black history. And so things just evolved for me basically from the end of my senior year of high school into probably the first year or two of college. In high school, I also worked at a local YMCA that was predominantly Black families. And it just kind of gave me a connection to feeling and understanding and being able to articulate more what I was seeing in my own world, like through my lens, my experience, and seeing that there was injustices being done. And then I just think that my passion and my want for leadership and my want for teaching was there in high school, but moving more into a social justice lens. So racially, socioeconomic status, sexuality, religions, just moving into having a passion for, equity across the board. But since I am in education and since I see that our students spend a lot of time in education, I think there needs to be something done with curriculum and how what we are teaching, how we are teaching, why we are teaching it, and not just pedagogical issues, but financial issues, etc. So that's kind of what's brought me here is all of those little stories woven together. I don't have a predominantly one huge story that sparked everything, but all of the little stories woven together and all of the little times where I had to be woke. I had a moment where I was like, whoa, those would be parts of my story that have ultimately gotten me here.